Okay guys, it's Repo here with another review, this time Terminator Resistance. Is it any good? Is it bad? I'm going to show you.
On August 29th, 1997, Skynet, a computer system built to protect us, became self-aware. It viewed humanity as a threat to its existence and decided to act. Judgment Day, as we eventually called it, marked the beginning of the war against the machines. Skynet attacks happened almost daily, but the attack that happened on that day was like nothing we'd seen before.
Okay, so fairly self-explanatory, normal Terminator dialogue. The first thing you notice is the characters, they seem a bit linear.
You wanted to talk to me?
Good to see you finally turned the corner. I wanted to talk to you.
Which is a little bit silly, as you can hear there, what he said.
I'm still holding a sound decoy.
Sound decoy?
Another thing is the voices, the lip sync doesn't actually sync up to what they're actually saying. Given Call of Duty and games like that in the 21st century, you would expect them to work harder on this.
Starts chasing, you throw a sound decoy.
Early on in the game, he's referred to as Private Jacob Rivers.
This is Private Jacob.
I know who you are.
And then he's referred to as Sergeant Rivers, so I'm not sure whether I missed part of the plot there.
I said that's enough. Sergeant Rivers?
Yes, sir.
The game seems a little bit slow as well. I would have liked them to be able to run a little bit quicker. Seems how a lot of it is running.
Turn left. Up there, through that.
There is stim packs in the game, which I think should have been integrated within the game, rather than having to collect them. These ones here make you run a little bit quicker, but the game just seems a little bit slow. All the way through, it's a little bit slow from hacking terminals. This one here, you have to hack this one. And there's quite a few of these as well. The game just seems a little bit slow. Everything from hacking terminals to here again, picking locks. From a Terminator game, there's not that much action sneaking around in this hospital using ultra vision, what looks like night vision goggles, but actually ultra vision goggles. It's a little bit frustrating as well when you're running around and you're in these air vents. You seem to come up against a lot of dead ends, which seems a bit pointless. It seems like the game might have to be played again a couple of times, because you have different ways, different paths of going through the game. You have options to kill people, not to kill them. Not that I would play this game again, to be honest with you guys, but the game does pick up with jazzy music. And killing metal monsters seems somewhat gratifying. As you get closer and closer to the Skynet stronghold, you start to face harder and bigger enemies. But the weapons do increase. You do start getting rocket launchers and miniguns and plasma rifles and stuff like that. Given the fact that the game's got a few weaknesses in the storyline and the dialogue, and the fact that there's no way of going prone in the game, and also there's no multiplayer. I couldn't find a multiplayer. It would have been good for them to have the Terminators versus Resistance in a multiplayer game, especially in today's game world. Multiplayer is a big part of the game, so it has a couple of flaws. But if you can find a couple of weaknesses in the game like I have here, trying to kill this sub-bot is easy, because he just keeps spinning around, turning around. He doesn't know exactly where you are. The way the game is programmed, obviously he would walk around that way, you would come underneath here and shoot him. Even on normal difficulty, this game doesn't really come up with such challenge.
Commander.
90% of the game actually looks pretty good, with the Terminators coming out of the fire here. With the shoddy dialogue, the game audio actually plays pretty good, and the sound is on point. Most of the firefights in the game are quite satisfying, but there's quite a few health packs and medkits which I find disturbing, since how the game's quite easy anyway. Shooting propane gas tanks is quite satisfying as well, but they seem to be a bit random and a bit sporadic. The cover system works. But the AIs, the artificial intelligence on your team, they actually don't do anything. If you just leave them, they don't actually kill the Terminators, which is quite worrying.
Fucking throw them!
As you get further and further into the game, you can see how many med packs I have here. I have 8. And I remember at the end of the game I had like something like 40, which is just way too many. It's almost like it's building you up to a climax that doesn't actually happen. Another thing as well is when you use your weapons, if you stop using it, stop firing it for a couple of seconds, the heads-up display, it removes, and you can't see how much ammo you have in it, which is confusing and annoying at some points.
I'm getting us out of this! This was an ambush! They knew we were coming!
As I mentioned before about the speed and the movement speed of the game, and these guys are running quite slow, and it's quite frustrating at times. As you can see, they're running in a robotic kind of manner. I'm not sure who the robots are, whether it's the Terminators or actually the Resistance. But as you get up to the top of the stairs here, you can see it's actually pretty good. The lighting, they've got the lighting on point.
I got this! Leaving already?
There's too many of them!
Hold it! Through here! Come on! Follow her!
As you get to this stage in the game, you should have collected enough chips and circuits off the Terminators to be able to upgrade your weapons. As you can see here, I've got 19% damage, some fire rate, and another 14% damage with this minigun. As you can see, I've got 36 health packs, which is just overkill. It's just way too much and way too easy. I don't blame the game for that. It's a good game, don't get me wrong, it's alright. This minigun is quite gratifying and satisfying to kill this guy with this minigun here. It's so OP, it's unbelievable. He fires a few rockets at you, but it doesn't really do enough damage, to be honest with you. Just tickles you. And given the fact that there's no multiplayer in this game, I think it's a deal breaker for me. I've got to be honest. It's a deal breaker for me. I would have liked them to add a multiplayer. Since that was a Terminator franchise, it would have been so nice and added the longevity to the game as well with a multiplayer game. More health packs here, as you can see. You just don't need them. You don't need 40 health packs. Okay, so getting closer and closer to Skynet's stronghold here. The enemies get bigger, but they don't get more and more difficult, which is it's quite surprising, to be honest. But the audio is on point. I've said this before, the audio is pretty good, and they do play that Terminator music towards the end, which means it makes you feel like you're getting somewhere in the game. You understand it's towards the end of the game. And we all love that Terminator music. Okay, so this is the end part of the game now, where we actually shut down Skynet. Overall, the game is it's not too bad. It's a bit linear in some places, but I like it. I don't mind it. I try to say the good points and the bad points about these games. Graphically, it looks good. Am I glad I bought it? Yes. Am I glad I played it? Yes. Would I buy it again? No. Would I play it again? No. And if they'd have added stuff like prone, multiplayer, it would have been so much more of a better game, guys. There you go, guys. I'll take care and see you in the next one.